All right, so next we're going to learn how to take the derivative of the quotient of two functions. And we can actually derive the quotient rule from a combination of the product rule and the chain rule. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here is I'm going through the process of deriving the the quotient rule. Okay, so I'm changing the quotient into a product, right? And then I'm using the chain rule because now we have g of x is now an inside function to this -1 power function. Okay, so that, and then there's some algebra to sort of clean it up. But the result is in this little box here. All right, so this is the quotient rule. And it looks a little messy, but I kind of like this. I don't know if I can get them both on one screen here. This is my go-to. This is what I always say to myself as I am applying the quotient rule. Okay, it's low d high minus high d low, and then you square the bottom. Low squared, right? Square the bottom and away you go. All right, so let's break that down. Okay, so it's low. Here's low d high minus high, right? Because it's high is the numerator, low is the denominator. You probably figured that out. And then d low, right? All over low squared. Square the bottom and away you go. All right. So that's what I always say to myself. Low d high minus high d low. Square the bottom and away you go. All right. So that's a good thing to memorize. That's what I always use as I'm going through these things. You just have to remember, that it starts with low d high minus high d low. Okay. And that's important because it's a minus. So these aren't interchangeable. If you mix it up, it's not going to be right. So be careful as you're going through these problems. All right, well, let's go through some problems here. Example 2. All right, I'm going to keep that little mnemonic up for us to refer back to. All right, I think I'll just take these slow again, although in reality, I kind of just say low d high minus high d low and square the bottom, away you go. All right, but, and I don't do all these intermediate steps, but I know when you're first starting out, you sort of need to take it slow. So we're going to break this into the quotient of two functions. Okay, the top function, the high, is 5x squared, and v is just the low function, the denominator function is x cubed plus 1. All right, so u prime, right, is 10x. V prime is equal to, wait, this is cubed. This should be cubed. I wrote a 2. So let me fix that. Okay, so that should be cubed. All right. So then the derivative is 3x squared. All right. So now we're just going to take it, just go through the process. So it's low. All right, so I'm going to write low, that's the denominator. D high, which is the 10x. Okay, don't forget your parentheses here too. The parentheses are important. All right, I'm seeing a lot of people like leave off parentheses, but the parentheses matter, especially when you have the sum of things, right? So, okay, so that's low d high minus high, all right, d low, all over low squared. So that's x cubed plus 1 quantity squared. All right, that's all there is to it. All right, let's do another one. All right, pause the video if you want to and you try it on your own. Okay, so I'm going to break this into a quotient, right? The high function, which is the numerator, is x squared plus 4. The low function is, which is the denominator, is 1 plus e to the x. Now I need the derivatives of both of those, so that becomes 2x. V prime is just e to the x. And now we can figure out what dy dx is, right? So it's low d high minus high d low all over low squared. Oops, 1 plus e to the x quantity squared. All right, that's all there is to it. Just practice, 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 you'll get it. All right, let's do another one. The high function, the numerator is e to the x. The low function is x squared. U prime is e to the x. V prime equals 2x. All right, we're just going to plug it in to our quotient rule. So low d high minus high d low all over low squared, which just becomes x to the 4th power. All right, let's do another one. My high function is 3x, right? That's the numerator. The low function is the square root of 2x minus 1, but I'm going to write it as 2x minus 1 to the 1/2. The derivative of the high function is just 3. The derivative of the low function is going to be 1/2 2x minus 1 to the minus 1/2. And then I have to use the chain rule. So I need to multiply by the derivative of the inside function, which is just the derivative of 2x minus 1 is just 2. Okay. Notice again, I can simplify a little bit. All right. dv dx then is equal to low. All right. So that's the v. So low 2x minus 1 to the 1/2 d high. Now, I kind of like to have the 3 out front, so I'm going to put the d high out front. So it's a little out of order, but that's okay. And then high d low, right? So that's the 2x minus 1 to the minus 1/2 all over low squared. So I'm squaring a square root, so this just becomes 2x minus 1. All right, that's it. That's all you need to do. So practice, practice, practice. And I'll meet you in the next video.